So this past week, the ANCA has hosted activists, advocates, youth leaders from across the country, West Coast, East Coast, here in Washington, D.C. for a series of policy workshops, seminars, advocacy trainings, and then advocacy on Capitol Hill, meeting with congressional officers to convey our community's priorities. We've also hosted a delegation from Artsakh with Foreign Minister David Babayan and the Deputy Minister for Culture, Galitsky, who were also on Capitol Hill meeting with members of Congress to talk about the dire situation in Artsakh right now, and to also provide suggestions and feedback as to how the United States may be able to play a role to hold Azerbaijan accountable for its aggression and to support the Armenians of Artsakh as they face this dire existential threat. So right now, there are 5 core priorities of the ANCA in our advocacy here on Capitol Hill. The first is to cut all U.S. military assistance to Azerbaijan. The second is to ensure that urgent humanitarian assistance goes to communities in Artsakh and those displaced populations that had to leave their homes after Azerbaijan occupied them following the war in 2020. The third is an amendment to the National Defense Authorization Act that would ensure the release of Armenian prisoners of war and call on the release of Armenian prisoners of war who face torture and abuse at the hands of Azerbaijan. The fourth is an investigation into Azerbaijan's war crimes and human rights abuses, including the torture of prisoners, the destruction and desecration of Armenian cultural heritage, the use of illegal munitions, cluster munitions, white phosphorus, and ensure that Azerbaijan is held to account for its aggression. And the fifth is House Resolution 7555, which is the Armenian Genocide Education Act, to ensure that building on the work of Congress and President Biden in recognizing the genocide, that we institutionalize remembrance and memorialization of the Armenian genocide and provide funding through the Library of Congress to ensure that schools across the country have access to resources to teach about the Armenian genocide in schools. Well, it's so important that representatives here can hear from a source on the ground about what's happening, to really understand how dire this situation is. And I think something that the foreign minister conveyed was that this isn't just about territory, this isn't about lines on a map. This is the lived experience, the real lives of these people, of a community, of an Armenian population. So hearing from a representative of Artsakh has been invaluable for these representatives, Congress members, senators, to gain critical insight into what's happening and the existential nature. The fact that what we are facing as a people, as a nation, really is a continuation of the genocide that began in 1915. And we have seen, I would say, an unprecedented level of support from members of Congress across the board. David Babayan's trip here in Washington, D.C. also coincided with Speaker Pelosi's trip to Armenia. And we have, as a result of that, seen an outpouring of solidarity from members of Congress, representatives across the board. We've met with, I would say, several dozen congressional officers over the course of the last 3 to 4 days. And with that, we also got a chance to speak with Representatives Speer and Representative Eshu, both members of Congress from the Bay Area of Armenian descent, who accompanied Speaker Pelosi on a trip to Armenia, where they debriefed us on the meetings that took place and the efforts that are currently underway to ensure that Armenia is supported by the United States and that Azerbaijan is held to account for its blatant act of aggression. Well, we are at a very pivotal juncture in the future of our nation. And right now, we cannot afford to rest. While our compatriots in Armenia and Artsakh face the constant threat from Azerbaijan and Turkey to their very existence as a nation, we, as a diaspora, as an Armenian community, have a responsibility to do whatever we can to ensure the security of Armenia and Artsakh and to pressure our government here in the United States to hold Azerbaijan and Turkey accountable for their aggression. And the best way to do that is to engage with the Armenian National Committee of America and the resources that we have to ensure that you are informed and equipped as to the legislative priorities that we're working on, and also that you have an avenue to direct your activism. And we here at the ANCA try to make it as simple as possible to call your Congress member, to email them, to post tweets about what's happening to generate public awareness. And the best place to start is by visiting anca.org/907 to call your Congress member, to join onto Representative Schiff's resolution 1351, calling on the condemnation of Azerbaijan and the immediate cessation of all military assistance to Azerbaijan, and make sure you keep in touch with the ANCA, follow us on social media, and look into the programs that we offer as an organization for youth development, for professional development here in the capital, so you can start your career as well as a professional advocate for the Armenian cause.